Tension was palpable from the moment Carrie Underwood walked onto the set of Today with Jenna and Friends. What was supposed to be a lighthearted segment promoting her new tour quickly devolved into something far more uncomfortable. Jenna Bush. Hager tried to keep the energy high, greeting Carrie with her signature enthusiasm. But viewers could sense the superstar's tight smile and guarded body language. Sitting down beside Jenna and her co-host, a guest contributor from a major lifestyle blog, Carrie seemed polite but visibly on edge, and it didn't take long for the spark to ignite. One poorly phrased comment about overpolished country pop stars who forget their roots from the guest host hit a nerve one. Carrie wasn't willing to let slide. Carrie raised her eyebrows and tilted her head slightly, the smile fading. "I'm sorry, is that a dig?" she asked, her southern charm giving way to a pointed sharpness. Jenna awkwardly laughed, trying to steer the moment back into safe territory, but the guest host, oblivious to the brewing storm, doubled down. "No shade, of course. I just think authenticity matters, especially in country music," she said. While looking directly at Carrie, the audience went silent. Cameras zoomed in on Carrie's tight jaw. "You know," she began, her voice low and steady, "I've been writing and singing my truth since the day I stepped onto that American Idol stage. So if you're questioning my authenticity, maybe you should do your homework." The tension hung thick, Jenna interjected quickly, trying to bring levity back into the room. "Let's talk about your album, Carrie. Denim and Rhinestones was a huge hit, and now the tour's heading overseas, right?" Carrie nodded curtly, still clearly irritated. "Yes, we've been working our butts off for over a year now. It's a blessing, but also, exhausting." She glanced at the guest host. "Some people think glitter makes it fake. I think it's just country with a little sparkle." Her tone was controlled, but her eyes were fierce. The guest host smiled sheepishly, finally sensing that she had struck deeper than intended. What followed was one of the most uncomfortable cooking segments the show had ever aired. As they moved into a country kitchen bit meant to showcase Carrie's favorite tour snacks, the country star barely spoke. She went through the motions stirring, mixing, plating, but her face was unreadable. Jenna tried valiantly to keep things upbeat, but even she seemed flustered, stumbling over her lines. At one point, Carrie broke the awkward silence by saying, "You know, I thought this was supposed to be a celebration, but it feels like I walked into a roast," the guest host muttered. "I didn't mean to offend," but Carrie cut her off. Intent doesn't erase impact. At that moment, Carrie pulled off her apron and set down her spoon. "I'm sorry. I think I've had enough for today," she said calmly but firmly. Jenna looked stunned. Wait, can we just, but it was too late?" Carrie had already removed her mic and was walking off set. Cameras caught a brief glimpse of her disappearing behind the curtain, lips pressed in a hard line. Producers scrambled, cueing commercial mid-segment as Jenna stared into the camera, clearly blindsided. "We'll be right back," she said, shakily eyes flickering toward the side of the stage. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of Carrie walking out went viral before the episode even ended. Fans were split, some fiercely defending Carrie for standing up for herself, others calling the exit unprofessional. Hashtags like #CarrieWalksOut and #CountryStrong trended worldwide. Meanwhile, insiders at NBC began leaking information. Carrie had reportedly requested not to appear with a co-host she'd previously had creative disagreements with. That request, evidently, had been ignored. The fact that the producers hadn't honored her boundary only intensified the outrage on her behalf. Backstage. Carrie sat alone in her dressing room, face in her hands. Her publicist hovered nearby, trying to reach her team for next steps. Carrie wasn't angry in the dramatic yelling sense, she was disappointed deeply. "They brought me here knowing it would be a setup," she said, shaking her head. "I'm tired of having to smile through insults just because I'm a woman." In country music, her voice broke slightly, but she didn't cry. "I've worked too hard to be dismissed by someone who thinks sparkle equals fake." It wasn't about one interview. It was about years of coded criticism finally boiling over. Producers from Today with Jenna and Friends issued a vague statement that afternoon, thanking Carrie for her appearance and calling the conversation spirited and passionate, but no apology, no ownership. Carrie's team, however, crafted a different response. Her social media pages featured a photo of her walking out, captioned, "Be kind, even when you walk away." It hit like a thunderclap. Thousands of women commented with stories of setting boundaries, of choosing dignity over decorum. Carrie hadn't just walked off a morning show, she'd walked into a deeper conversation about media. Treatment of powerful women. Asterisk the next day, Jenna addressed the incident live on air. "Yesterday didn't go how we imagined," she began. "We love Carrie, and we're sorry she felt disrespected." She didn't name the guest host. She didn't offer full accountability. But her tone was more subdued than usual. "Sometimes we need to listen more than we talk," she added. Carrie, meanwhile, had already left New York. She was on a plane back to Nashville, headphones in, blocking out the noise. She didn't regret walking out. She regretted trusting a room that didn't have her back. It was only 3 days later. When Carrie Underwood's team announced that she would be appearing in a surprise one-on-one interview with CBS Mornings, hosted by Gayle King, the teaser sent ripples across entertainment media. No press junket, no studio audience, just Carrie, seated in a sunlit Nashville home, wearing a muted denim jacket and a soft white tee. Her face was calm, but unmistakably resolved. The network's promo clip revealed just one line from her. "Sometimes, silence gets mistaken for guilt. I'm not silent anymore." That alone was enough to skyrocket anticipation for the full broadcast. Asterisk, when the interview aired, Carrie wasted no time. Gayle's first question, "Why did you walk off that set?" was met with a quiet pause, then a deeply felt reply. "Because I was done shrinking," Carrie said. "I was done swallowing disrespect, and I was done pretending it's okay." When people poke at you under the guise of fun, Gayle nodded, letting the silence breathe. "I think a lot of people expected me to be polite and take it, because that's what I've done for years. But I'm not a punching bag with a microphone. I'm a woman with a voice." Carrie described the build-up how producers assured her it would be a safe space, how she had concerns about the co-host, and how she tried to power through for the sake of fans. "I wanted to believe they'd protect the spirit of the segment, but instead they served me up like a spectacle." Her words were calm but laced with conviction. It wasn't just one jab about country music. It was years of comments about being too glamorous or too mainstream. They say, "Be real," but what they really mean is be small. Gayle's expression softened as she replied, "And you were done being small." Carrie nodded. The internet, again, erupted. Clips from the CBS interview spread across every platform, now under the hashtags #CarrieSpeaks and #WalkOutWithGrace. Fans rallied, including several high-profile female artists. Miranda Lambert tweeted, "You're damn right, sister." And Kelsey Ballerini posted a throwback photo of her and Carrie with the caption, "Loud, proud, country." Even Dolly Parton chimed in with a subtle but powerful message: respect isn't optional. That chorus of support made it clear Carrie hadn't just offended herself. She had sparked a movement. Asterisk, meanwhile, the original guest host from Today with Jenna and Friends, issued an apology, but many found it lukewarm. In a Notes app screenshot posted to Instagram, she wrote, "I never meant to hurt anyone, and I'm sorry if my words were taken the wrong way." The non-apology drew backlash, especially after behind-the-scenes audio leaked of her making sarcastic remarks after Carrie walked off. "Guess she can dish it out on stage, but not in real life," she was heard saying. That leak did more damage than anyone expected. The network distanced itself quickly. Asterisk, Jenna Bush Hager herself reached out privately to Carrie, according to sources close to both women. The message was reportedly heartfelt, and though Carrie hasn't confirmed its contents, her response on social media, an image of a blooming wildflower with the words, "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetfulness," suggested grace, but not erasure. She wasn't interested in revenge or scandal. She was interested in reclaiming dignity, especially for women in the industry who often have to smile while being belittled under hot studio lights. Asterisk, the following week, Carrie took the stage at the Grand Ole Opry in an unannounced appearance. The crowd, already buzzing, exploded into cheers as her name was introduced. Wearing a sleek black dress and holding her guitar, she opened with a heartfelt acoustic rendition of her song, "Cry Pretty." But it was her mid-set speech that sent chills. "This week's been loud, but here's the truth. I didn't cry because I was weak. I walked out because I was strong. And I'll never apologize for walking away from a room that tried to make me feel small. The audience gave her a standing ovation. Asterisk media outlets began reframing the narrative. What started as a celebrity walkout scandal was now being reported as a defining feminist moment in modern country music. Opinion pieces appeared in major publications calling it the turning point for on-air accountability. Critics who previously dismissed Carrie as too polished started re-evaluating her career. One columnist wrote, "She didn't just walk out of a talk show, she walked into her power." Country radio picked up on the momentum, spinning her older anthems like The Champion and Church Bells on repeat. Asterisk behind the scenes. Carrie's management began receiving speaking requests, not just for music, but for women's leadership, events, media ethics panels, and even university commencements. Brands that previously kept her in the safe lane now saw her as a bolder, stronger voice. When asked whether she would return to daytime TV interviews, Carrie smiled during an Instagram Q&A. Not unless the room respects the woman walking into it. It wasn't just a quip. It was a line in the sand. She wasn't the same Carrie, who'd once said yes just to be liked. Asterisk in the end. Carrie Underwood didn't just walk off a set. She walked into a firestorm, stood in it, and emerged stronger. She taught millions, watching especially women, that silence is not the price of grace, and that even in the most public of moments, dignity is something you can choose. Not by yelling, not by retaliating, but by rising, walking and saying, "I deserve better." And she did it in heels, under lights, with the world watching, and she never looked back. The aftermath was unlike anything daytime television had faced in recent memory. As Carrie's fans surged in vocal support online, executives at NBC scrambled behind closed doors. The segment's footage had gone viral, but not in the way they hoped. Every media outlet, from Entertainment Tonight to the New York Times, analyzed every second of Carrie's expression, tone, and words. Audiences weren't just outraged, they were awakened. What seemed at first like a celebrity meltdown was now being recast as a woman's refusal to be undermined, and the network's complicity was under the spotlight. Asterisk sponsors quietly began pulling advertising from upcoming episodes of Today with Jenna and Friends. One insider revealed that 3 major brands had contacted the show's legal team requesting clarity on how such a mismanaged segment made it to air. Behind closed doors, emails were flying fast. Producers argued that the segment had been intended as lighthearted banter, but no one believed it. The leaked audio had exposed the truth. The co-host had gone rogue, and the production team had let her. The network issued a public statement blaming a miscommunication in pre-interview prep, but viewers weren't buying it. Asterisk Carrie, meanwhile, remained silent online for 4 days, then returned with one post that sent fans into a frenzy. It was a black and white photo of her holding a guitar with just 2 words in the caption, "Unfiltered Friday." Within minutes, speculation exploded. Was it a song? A live stream? A statement? By the time Friday arrived, over 600,000 users had RSVP'd to her YouTube premiere notification. What they got was unexpected. A stripped-down acoustic performance from her home studio of a brand new single titled Glass Chair. Asterisk the lyrics struck deep. "You liked me quiet, you called it grace. But you twisted my silence into a safer space." Verse by verse, she dismantled the kind of casual cruelty disguised as jokes, the expectations women face to endure in silence, and the way media elevates conflict over truth. The final chorus swelled. "I walked away, not 'cause I broke, but 'cause I learned glass chairs will choke." The metaphor of a seat offered but made of fragile, sharp expectation. The video reached 2 million views within 12 hours. Critics called it a protest ballad disguised as a confession. Asterisk that same night, the co-host who'd ignited the controversy made a surprise appearance on a rival news network, hoping to salvage her reputation. Dressed more humbly than usual, she tried to explain her side. "I thought we were just vibing. I didn't mean to hurt her," she said, eyes lowered, but the damage had been done. Commentators noted how little ownership she took for the sarcasm. Caught in the leaked mic audio, "You don't laugh behind someone's back and then claim friendship," one tweet read. Even former talk show hosts like Rosie O'Donnell and Meredith Vieira criticized her response. The media wasn't the only world shaken. Inside Nashville's music circles, executives who had long advised female artists to play nice were now being challenged. Carrie's act of defiance sparked conversations in label boardrooms and artist roundtables. Country singer Carly Pearce posted, "They told us to keep our heads down." Carrie lifted hers. Other performers began sharing stories of interviews where they'd endured similar passive-aggressive remarks. For once, the conversation wasn't about drama, it was about dignity. Carrie herself avoided interviews but agreed to appear on a podcast hosted by Reba McEntire. The episode was raw and sisterly. Reba asked gently, "Was there a moment where you thought you might stay and keep going?" Carrie replied, "Yes. I almost smiled through it like I always have. But then, something in me just said, no, if I don't walk now, I'm telling every girl watching that it's okay to be treated like that." The silence that followed between the two women was louder than applause. By the next week, Glass Chair topped the iTunes country charts. Streaming platforms gave it front-page placement. But Carrie didn't stop there. She announced a short acoustic tours called the Glass Sessions, with all proceeds going to organizations that support young women in media and performance arts. Fans packed every stop at the Nashville show. Her final speech brought the crowd to tears. "I'm not here tonight as someone who stormed